We got to talk about the Rockets, who have been a model of consistency and stability in the NBA.
They took a Warriors team, fully loaded, with KD and Steph and Clay and Trae and everybody. 7 games. That was because of Daryl Morey.
Daryl Morey leaving the job in what has been a wild year for Houston sports.
And Mike D'Antoni.
D'Antoni telling the Rockets today that he will become a coaching free agent and move on.
They had their chances. Where's the hardware to show for it?
When you don't get it done, change has to take place. And the very relationship you cultivated makes it incredibly difficult for you to provoke and implement the change that might be needed.
Right now, to me, the Rockets, in my opinion, are moving in the right direction. They just hired a young stud in Steven Silas, who is well respected around the league.
The reason I'm prepared for this position is because I've been preparing for this all my life. It hasn't just been 20 years of coaching. It's been all the things and the people that I've met and the things that I've learned over those years.
The Houston Rockets, they turned from choke city to clutch city in the 90s with Hakeem Olajuwon, back to choke city with James Harden, back to tanking after Daryl Morey leaves, but now they're back with a new coach and a new look with the new squad. First point guard is Trae Young. This man was like Steph Curry in college. He was basically a clone, but like 6'1". He shot the ball crazy range. Great handles. Playmaking is excellent. Pulled up from anywhere. Floaters. Assists. Didn't really rebound, but you know, he wasn't going to dunk it over you. Didn't necessarily have the fastest time on the court or nothing like that. But at the same time, is just one of those leaders. Brandon Roy. I can't even say enough about Brandon Roy. I'm going to let the legends say it for me.
That's a bad boy. And I think making it the second time just kind of solidifies yourself in terms of being one of the premier players in the league. Great voice, high IQ basketball player. Understands the size, understands pace and tempo. I mean, he's ahead of his time. He's ahead of his time.
Nah, I think they're doing a good job. Well coached. Roy's probably the best player I've played against. To me, he's the best shooting guard. Not on defense now. His defense is kind of suspect, but he's the best player I played against.
He's a better player than Kobe Bryant, a better player than LeBron James?
He's the best player I played against.
Are you saying that just because he's your opponent in this series?
No, he is. He's the best player I played against.
So, you got going to the rim, you got shooting, you got creativity in the air, you got passing. Sometimes he played the 1, and then sometimes he played the 3. 6'7", crazy good. Gordon Hayward, 6'7", also 220. Sadly, there's a Gordon Hayward before the Celtics injury and a Gordon Hayward after. The Gordon Hayward before the Celtics injury, when he played on the Jazz, 6'8", 220. This man was doing everything on the court. I mean, dribbling, shooting. He was the main playmaker. He was the guy they ran the offense through. He had enough athleticism to put it on your head. You know, you never really expected it because it was just some random white guy. But you know what I'm saying? He had a little bit of athleticism that caught you off guard. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, he was fierce. Real good leader. Antoine Jameson, 6'9", around 220. Very versatile. Can dribble a little bit. Can mostly shoot. Shoots the 3. Shoots mid-range. Is pretty good at going to the rim. Not exactly a post moves guy. not exactly the best rebounder in the game. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get you some rebounds, but he's not going to average like 9 or 10 or nothing like that. But he's just mostly good for transition, which is what the Rockets are about. Dikembe Mutombo, a good anchor on defense in the paint, 7'1". You know, he's not like 300 pounds or nothing, but I'd say he's around a good 230. But at the same time, blocks like nobody's business. It's just an instinct. It's just something you either have or you don't have. Famous for the finger wave. He does it in commercials now that he's older. But not in my house. David Wesley, point guard, 6 foot even. Sometimes he plays the 2. He's basically Trae Young light. Playmaking, shooting out the ass. He can dribble. He's a little bit thicker as a point guard, so he's not dunking it over you. But at the same time, his catching and shooting is amazing. It's actually better than his dribbling and then pulling up. But he's someone you can trust in transition and just a good point guard. Bojan Bogdanovic, 6'6", can shoot the ball. You know the foreigners. Thomas Bryant, 6'10", can shoot the 3 and do a little post. Cody Martin, 6'7", shoots the 3. Steve Novak, power forward, 6'8", can shoot the 3. Jayshawn Tate plays for the Rockets currently, 6'4", can play the 3 and the 4 and the 2, can shoot the 3. Patty Mills shoots the 3. Willie Ernan Gomez, pretty good anchor, and Hakeem Ward. Now right here this is a crowd favorite right here, because Hakeem Ward, 6'9", play with Carmelo Anthony on Syracuse. This man can dunk. I know he's kind of like a bench warmer. He sort of was a little bit in real life. You know, he didn't get that many minutes. But when he was on the court, man, God, it was just great. Because he was just dunk on anybody. And, like, his hops was nuts. I remember this one alley-oop he had with, like, one hand. He reached all the way out like Vince Carter and just yammed it. I was just like, oh, my goodness. Like, yeah, he had the blocks, of course. But because his vertical was nuts, but like, God, man, like, just a very exciting bench player that I've never like really seen again like that, where you just like, unless it's like Gerald Green, but like not at power forward, where you're just like, what? Like, people like that was doing that, like Blake Griffin or something like that, but for him to just have that much energy off the bench was just, it was nuts, man. I know this is like a long video for a bench player, but it's just like, God, the times, you know what I'm saying? The times. I remember the dunk contest and everything. Like, all right, so you remember Steven Silas in the beginning of the video. He's the coach. Jeff Hornacek, I keep telling you, man, the role players are the best in management. He's the assistant coach. He was playing for the Jazz. He played for the Suns for a little bit. He's like 6'3". You know, he shot the ball. He was a combo guard. He was a good playmaker. Passed it. Wasn't going to average over like 7 assists or nothing, but at the same time, he's a pretty creative passer. And, you know, just one of those solid guys who may have started sometimes, could have came off the bench sometimes, but very smart player, you know, so it makes sense for a head coach. Rebounding, 3-point scoring, vertical, offensive IQ or strengths, of course. Steals, dunks, strength, and perimeter defense are weaknesses. That's kind of been the Rockets' story for the past couple decades now, I would say. Starting with the Tracy McGrady, you know, that kind of went left, and then it kind of just turns into what it is now, you know. So that's the Rockets.